all. In last class we were discussing about devaluation of certain currency. So devaluation of the currency, it is reducing the domestic currency's value purposefully by the supreme authority or government. Like devaluation, depreciation also a very similar thing. The only difference between devaluation and devaluation is done purposefully by the government, and depreciation of certain currency or domestic currency is done with the certain factors like demand and supply. So devaluation is related to fixed exchange rate regime, and depreciation is related to floating exchange rate regime, and devaluation of a currency is related to fixed exchange rate regime. So if they ask the difference between these two, these are the difference between devaluation of currency and depreciation of currency. The meaning is quite similar, but the difference is devaluation is done purposefully by the government, and depreciation of a currency is done on the basis of demand and supply factor of certain currency. And the second difference is devaluation of a currency is related to fixed exchange rate regime, and depreciation of a currency or depreciation of domestic currency against certain foreign currency comes under floating exchange rate or fixed exchange rate system. In today's class, or in this session, we are going to discuss about depreciation of currency, and no need to worry, both are very similar. The definition is also quite similar. When the value of domestic currency falls in terms of a foreign currency due to market forces of demand and supply, it is known as depreciation. See, if in case it is a devaluation, then the definition will be like when the value of domestic currency falls in terms of a foreign currency due to government intervention, that is devaluation. This is fluctuation of domestic currency due to market forces of demand and supply. It is known as depreciation. This is the major difference. You should note it down, and you should remember difference between depreciation and devaluation. Devaluation is purposefully done. Depreciation is done by demand and supply factor. In the next few sessions, I am going to discuss these things in detail, because these two are very important. These two means devaluation and revaluation, depreciation and appreciation. And why these things are important is what are the impact on economy of the country of depreciation or appreciation of a currency. See, nowadays majority of the country follow floating exchange rate system or flexible exchange rate system. These two terminologies are very important, depreciation and appreciation. What happens to appreciation, what happens to depreciation to the importer and exporter, it is quite important. Example is quite similar to devaluation. If the exchange rate between two currencies, usually we take US dollar with Indian rupee, because these two countries are very good. These two countries are in too good relationship in terms of trade and policies, in terms of defense, etc. So if we take an example related to United States dollar and Indian rupee, if the rupee becomes 65 per dollar to 70 rupees per dollar, it is considered as depreciation of currency. See, again, earlier, say for example, in last week, today is Saturday, on last Monday the exchange rate between, if and only if, on last Monday in a foreign exchange market, exchange rate between rupee and dollar is 65 per dollar on last Monday, and today is Saturday. Today's exchange rate between rupee and dollar is 70 rupees per dollar. So if you look into the numericals, from 65 to 70, it looks as it is increased, but we call it as depreciation. From 65 rupees to 70, even though it has increased, we consider it as depreciation of Indian rupee. Why we consider, even though it is increasing, why we consider the exchange rate, or rupee value is depreciating against US dollar even though rupee has increased from 65 to 70, because on last Monday, if I need to buy, if I had to buy single unit of dollar, I would have paid 65 rupees. Today, on this Saturday, if I am going to buy a single unit of dollar, then I have to pay 5 rupees more, that is 70 rupees per dollar. Why I am paying 5 rupees more to buy same unit of dollar last week? Because the purchasing power, buying power of the rupee got reduced. Since the buying power or purchasing power of rupee is reduced, we considered as rupee got depreciated against US dollar. Fine, you should remember, even though rupee value looks in an increasing trend, we consider it as depreciation of Indian rupee against US dollar. Please do remember, please do make note of it. When rupee value increases against certain foreign currency, we call it as depreciation or devaluation. The depreciation of currency occurs by forces of demand and supply in the global market, not by the government. If it was devaluation of Indian rupee or certain currency, we call it as, and there will be definitely government intervention in it. But the exchange rate, fluctuating exchange rate, because of demand and supply factors, not the government, we call it as depreciation. Earlier also, I explained the difference between devaluation and depreciation. Please do remember, depreciation happens because of demand and supply factors. Devaluation happens because of government intervention. By depreciating the value of currency, the problem occurs only for short term, but in long time, it will help an economy to build well and reliable. Why it helps in reviving of country's economy? Refer these slides. It also guards against the market crack-ups. The floating exchange rate changes day by day basis and timely basis, and floating exchange rate is a rate by which the country determines the value of their own currency in the global market. See, the floating exchange rate, it very frequently changes, very frequently in the sense within a minute exchange rate fluctuates against certain currency, one currency with the other currency. So what is the impact of depreciation on country's economy? It happens in the global market on a daily basis, not only daily basis but timely basis also. Within an hour it fluctuates because of change in the economic policy or political party in the global market. So how the political party is reliable in terms of foreign policies, foreign direct investment policies, etc. In the depreciation, the purchasing power of currency falls as compared to another country's currency, means country's money has less power to purchase as compared to another currency. So in our illustration earlier it was 65 rupees per dollar. It has become 70 rupees per dollar. Then we consider it as purchasing power of currency, purchasing power of Indian rupee got reduced. Effects, it is favorable to exporters. How it is favorable to exporters? See, I am exporting a mobile phone to United States and I am selling my mobile phone for $1. Earlier I used to get, after selling one unit of mobile phone, I used to get $1 per piece. Now I am getting, because of the depreciation of Indian rupee against dollar, even though I am receiving 1 rupee but my manufacturing base is situated in India, I have to convert my received dollar to Indian rupee only. While converting US dollar to Indian rupee, earlier I used to get only 65 rupees per dollar. Now I am getting 5 rupees more. That is that is 70 rupees per dollar. Which one is beneficial to me, 65 or 70? So 70 rupees, ultimately I am earning 5 rupees more when I am selling single unit of mobile phone in United States. And imports are very much expensive. You see, if you vice versa to the favorable to exporter, if you are importing mobile phone from US and you have to pay in dollar, then you have to buy the US dollar because you are an Indian citizen. To buy single unit of dollar, earlier you had to pay 65 rupees. Now you have to pay 5 rupees more because you are importing mobile phone from US and you have to pay in dollar. So ultimately import will be very much expensive, higher inflation because domestic exporters earn more money, they pay higher salaries, their employees uh, remuneration get increases, excuse me, then they start spending more and more, it results in higher inflation in a country. Then decrease in supply because exporters are manufacturing more, they are exporting more. Even since they are manufacturing more, they need more and more raw material and they are exporting more and more because they are earning capacity, their earnings enhances. Since they are exporting more, their domestic sales may be reduced, it results in decrease in supply. So in today's session we have discussed about depreciation, and you should note down the difference between devaluation and depreciation. Thank you.